And good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, whenever you're watching us around the world here on the Captain Lou Sports Network for another edition of the Extravaganza with yours truly, Captain Lou, and my tag team partner, fresh off of vacation, Mitch Bernstein. Mitch, how the heck are you? We got a great show planned for you guys here tonight. Mitch, why don't you introduce who we've got coming on, and we'll bring them on here momentarily.
Okay, yeah. Vacation was good. Watched some baseball. It's a very interesting early baseball season, and it's very appropriate that we have somebody who is still in baseball, a former manager, hitting coach, assistant to the manager, and player, and also author who wrote a book. I'll have him come on now. His name is Clint Hurdle. Welcome, Clint. How are you, buddy?
Morning, gentlemen. I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for taking the time and coming on with us. We really appreciate it.
You are welcome.
So, Clint, your book came out. I want to start talking about your book. And reading a lot of what you post on Twitter and on social media, I find a lot of what you have spoken about resonated with me. And I really inspired by a lot of what you tweet about and what is in the book. So I got to ask you, what inspired you to do this book? Why?
Well, inspiration can come from many places. And at the end of the day, I got dared to write a book. I've had a number of people reach out to me over the years to write a book. After our Rocktober run in Colorado, where we actually went into Philly and kind of caught you guys off guard in 2007, there were some people in Colorado thought, hey, why don't you write a book about the season or your travel, your journey? Because my journey has been disconnected at times. My journey has had some highs and has had some low lows. But I didn't want to do it then. I was still in uniform, and then went to Pittsburgh, and we were in a hard spot there, and then had 3 very, very successful seasons. And after that run, so I said, hey, maybe you ought to write a book. And some other people just thought I ought to write a book based on my life journey. At the end of the day, writing a book never appealed to me because of a couple things. Number one, it's really hard to do. Number two, maybe people won't like it. Maybe, number three, it'll take up too much time. I did have a guy, Dave Burchett, who was the TV production manager for the Ranger games, the one year I was in Texas in 2010, reach out to me early on about writing a book, and I turned him down. I just said, not while I'm in uniform. It just doesn't make sense. Well, after I retired the first time, I failed. He reached back about writing a book, him and I sharing life lessons learned the hard way. 40 years in the business he'd been in. I had been in baseball over 40 years at that time. There was a lot of common knowledge, a lot of common fabric. So I thought, okay, this is a good idea. We worked on this book for 2 years. When we went to look for a publisher, we couldn't get one. The story kept coming back, male, pale, and stale. 2 middle 60-year-old guys. The net you throw won't be big enough. The stories are okay. They're actually pretty good, some of them, but nobody was interested. So Dave, who had done all this hard work, that's what when you co-author a book, normally the guy with a name that's more well-known doesn't do a lot of the work. I didn't do a lot of the work. I told the stories. I shared the experiences. Dave wrote everything, edited everything, fact-checked everything for 2 years. He said, will you ask your friend John Gordon to read my book? John Gordon, I've known for 15 years. He's written 18 #1 bestsellers. Pretty good at it. John read the book and basically gave us the same feedback.
Wow.
And he says, but you should write a book. And I said, I should write a book? He goes, yeah. He said, I've spoken to your teams in Colorado and Pittsburgh. I've listened to you speak, in different platforms. I keep a folder of things you've said. I call them hurdleisms. I'm like, whoa, stop right there. You what? He goes, yeah, hurdleisms. I go, there's only yogiisms and there's stingleisms. There's no room for hurdleisms. He goes, Clint, you don't have any idea the impact you've made on people. So I'm just listening to him. I said, okay. So he tells me I need to write a book. And I give him 5 reasons, guys, 5, why I shouldn't write a book. At the end of those reasons, he goes, so you're afraid. I dropped my head. I gave him the side eye that I normally get from my wife. I gave him a side eye, and he goes, "What?" I go, "I'm not afraid. Here's 5 reasons why I'm not afraid." When I finished with those, he goes, "Okay, so you're really just afraid." I paused. I listened. You know what? It was the same reasons I gave you guys earlier why I didn't write a book. Hard. Never done it. High school education. People won't buy it. I'll get made fun of. He said, those are the exact reasons why everybody runs through before writing a first book. Anyway, push come to shove. John got me in front of a publishing group. I had to go through multiple interviews, write multiple short stories, elevator pitch, introduction, forward. And finally, I guess I passed the test because Wiley Publishers agreed to onboard, come with me on the journey. The reason behind the book was I've been in some really hard, dark, lonely places, personally and professionally.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do hard on and off the field. And I thought I could put together a book with 25 hurdleisms that we came up with and put a professional experience with it and a personal experience with it. And hopefully it could provide some encouragement, some strength, and some sense, some common sense to somebody else out there. That's why I wrote the book.
It's a book to me that I have felt with your comments about leadership, about resilience, about dealing with failure, which all of us have experienced. And when I read some of your comments, I just continually shake my head. So it's really resonating with me. I've been fired. My kids have been fired from jobs. And those are the low lows. And even when you know it's coming, because I had one of those, be glad to be done, but you still feel like you didn't live up to your expectations. And then you need somebody, and that was my wife, to help me get through those low lows and able to go back to, okay, I know what I'm worth, and I can do this, right? So the resilience factor is key. Leadership, right? You write such amazing, again, small snippets about what it's like to be a really good leader. And I've agreed with you so many times on this one specific area. It's all about relationships.
It takes an investment for anything to have value. And in leadership, the investment is you pouring into your people, you making time for your people, you having real face time with your people, you making the time to sit down and actually help them realize that they are important and that they feel heard, they feel like you're listening to them, and they do feel like you care about them. You know, I'll give you a fast forward why people usually feel better about the book once they're into it, because I shared transparently a lot of my low lows.
Right.
I've been divorced twice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard, especially hard on the other people involved, the collateral damage that can be caused along the way. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I have 27 years of sobriety. I've been fired 3 times. I've been released. I've been cut. I've been traded. I've been to the World Series 3 times. I'm happily married for 26 years. I've got 2 wonderful children with my wife, Carla. I've got an older daughter, Ashley, that's 40, that I couldn't be more proud of. My mom and dad were the inspirations for my entire life. It's hard being divorced twice when your mom and dad were married for 69 years. They set the bar very, very high. But through it all, I share all that in the book, how I was able to get help and navigate some of my low lows, people that reached out and supported me. And the basis for the book, though, again, it's, if you're in a hard spot, realize there is better days ahead, but you've got to take action, whether it be in baseball, whether it be in your relationship, whether it be in your work. There has to be action taken. You can't just sit on something and expect things to change or continue to do things the same way you've been doing them. So it's a book of adjustments. It's a book of pivots. It's a book of regeneration and reclamation in some place. And there's some actually pretty cool baseball stories in it. It's not a baseball book.
Right.
It's a book of life lessons shared by a guy that spent a lifetime in baseball. This will actually be my 51st year professionally in the game of baseball. So I am that guy, and I'm blessed to be that guy.
Yeah, it's great that you've had the ability to understand what you needed to do to be successful. It's all about life. I mean, life isn't perfect. No relationship is really perfect because you have to work on it. So I applaud you for being transparent with all that, because I'm pretty sure, was it kind of therapeutic in writing the book too? Yeah.
Very therapeutic. The other fun part is I learned so many nuances in writing a book. I mean, it was 3 months of preparation, table of contents, cut the third-lisms up into parts of the baseball season. Then you tell the stories, and I was told at the end, well, you need to fact check your stories. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? I was there. And they go, yeah, so were other people. Anytime you use somebody else's name in a story, call them to make sure you told the story right, because, Clint, you've gotten older. And I think we all can attest to the fact that as I get older, sometimes my stories get bigger. My wife says I embellish from time to time. So I had to call men and women back and say, hey, remember this? Here's what I wrote. What do you think? And they'll be like, yeah, that's spot on. Or, well, you forgot this, or you left out this. So it was a great way to retouch and rekindle relationship with some people. Mm-hmm. It was also a wonderful way on which to be held to a deadline.
Yeah.
Word count, deadline, get red marks back on my paper again, which, make you feel less than from time to time. But I had 3 different editors I worked with that were all there to support me and help me write a good book, not to tear me down, but to share with me what didn't make sense or what wasn't working. So I had to go back into that white belt mentality of being a lifelong learner, going back to school, which was also very healthy. And then just finding quiet time. Because there were times in my life where there was no such thing. There were times in my life which I used to stuff my quiet time in my sock. And then slowly over, the years, I've started to realize the importance of quiet time. Mm-hmm. Whether it's, meditation early in the morning, whether it's prayer time, whether it's reading, solitude, stillness are very important for me now, because most often when we get up, and if the first thing I touch is my cell phone, I'm in a bad place with my wife. The first thing I touch is anything else but the person next to me, my wife in bed, or I get myself together before I walk out that door and present myself to the world, I'm going to put myself in a very vulnerable spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great stuff. Absolutely. Definitely life learning lessons. And listen, Lou and I can vouch. I love learning now. I mean, I have a lot of time when you're working. Lou will find this out soon. I mean, I was never really big in history. My wife is. So I've really learned to embrace her enjoyment of Civil War. When on vacation, going to visit and learn more about history and baseball, women's and Negro Leagues. So I've really taken that to heart as I've gotten older. And just like you said, learning every day. It's something that as we get older, it keeps you young. Absolutely keeps you young. All right, so we're going to go. I want to now move over to the actual baseball side. Okay, I have several questions about being a hitting coach. What is the role, as you looked at it, of a hitting coach?
Well, let me say 2 things first. Hitting is messy, and people are messy. It's never been harder to hit a baseball than it is in today's space of game, based on pure velocity and pure spin. The game has pivoted in a lot of different directions, none more so than in the last probably 5 or 6 years than in my previous 45. I was a hitting coach as I was a young manager, and then I became a hitting coordinator, and then my first opportunity in the major leagues was as a hitting coach with Don Baylor, and then took on that role with Jimmy Leland and Buddy Bell. You're part coach and you're part couch. There's times when I think you really need to earn their trust first and foremost. in any type of coaching operation. Back in the day, we used to give people our trust, not so much anymore with the younger generations. It's not right or it's not wrong. It's just the way it is. Have to earn their trust because they are not going to let me coach them until they know they can trust me. And I have their best interest involved. I'm not there to transactionally use them and their skill set to get me a better deal or a 3-year contract or get my name in the paper. I'm there to serve them. I'm there to be a guide, to be a GPS. But trust is the basis of that relationship because nobody lets you coach them until they trust you. Okay. And I think one of the quicker ways for me to earn trust and build trust was to also get to know them off the ball field. What kind of home did they come from? Mom and dad's involvement. Did they have brothers or sisters? What did they play? Any other sports growing up? Do they have hobbies, books, hunting, fishing, movies? Just so every time they see me walking towards them, they don't see, okay, there's Clint, my hitting coach. Oh, God, when are we going to talk about hitting? They see a guy talking to them. We try and remove the titles.
Yes.
From player and coach to just two guys.
Yeah.
Having a conversation. I want them to have a sense of safety and comfort when they see me walking towards them. Like, okay, here he comes. I don't know what he's got, but I usually feel better when he leaves.
Okay.
So after that, in today's game, there's a lot going on in the hitting space in that hitter's box. You've got to try and prepare to hit, 95 to 100 more often than not. Some maximum spin. You've almost got to cheat and guess a little bit to hit any fastball over 95 miles an hour. It's scientifically proven. And then they combat that with the splitters, fork balls, the change-ups, the slow curve. So the speed variance has never been greater. It can do it from 80 to 105 now. You got to cover 25 miles of velocity in basically 2 to 3 blinks of an eye. So it's about trust. And after that, it's about keeping it simple for them. And let me just take a break right there and see what your thoughts are. Any other questions? But it's messy. It's hard. I need to find a way to unmessy it up for them, give them some confidence to do it and confidence they can hold on to, and have them work hard early so they can actually just play once the game starts.
Okay, so here's my issue. I'm going to relate this to my team, the Phillies. Okay, they're having the first 15 games. Harper's starting to come out of it. His chase rate was 35% last year, 40% in the playoffs, swinging at crap, getting us frustrated. Okay, and Turner was the same way, and so was JT. They scored 13 runs last night. Great. On the Philly Show podcast, Jim Salisbury, Todd Zalecki, and Ruben Amaro Jr. talking about a question by somebody sent in about Kevin Long, the hitting coach. The hitting coach, according to Jim Salisbury, is, let me read my notes here, because I took the notes, I went back and looked at the podcast, and I wanted to give the information to you and get your thoughts. Talks about the hitting coach talks about the mental side, theory, mechanics, approach, and then at 2:30 every day in the bat and their swing at the batting cage every day. So whatever they talk about, and these guys supposedly love Kevin Long, and they continue up until last night. Who knows if it'll happen tonight? Do the same damn thing. Is it hard to turn those veterans, those Schwarbers, Harpers, Turners, and make changes these days with the veterans? Not the young kids. I'm going to go with the young kids in a minute. But with these veteran players, they trust you. You have their trust. How do you approach them to make changes, or will they make changes?
Well, I think you suggest, number one, you show them some evidence. Number two, that it has some merit to talk about, to have a conversation about. You also get to the point where you say, what do we have to lose in trying something a little different based on the past product for the past week or 45, 50 at-bats. Each one of the guys you talk about has been an all-star. Each one of the guys you talk about has won something offensively. They've showed the ability to hit, which means the ability to hit is there. Sometimes a mental skills coach can come involved, and many times the hitting coach is a mental skills coach as far as helping the player declutter,
right,
and actually, there's an old saying that it's not to meant people to feel less than, but it's once you get in the box, hit from the neck down. Let your athletic ability take over. Let your eyes give you the read, and then let your athletic skills take over. We can overcomplicate things as human beings. I'm 68. Change has been hard for me, but I've made it based on failure, based on collateral damage, based on hurting other people, or based because of poor performance. I'm sure Captain Lou and you, Mitch, you may be in my age group.
Yeah.
Change can be hard. And from a hitting standpoint, if they've had success a certain way, they think they can recapture that, but you've got to factor in other things. Different type pitching, different velocities, speeds, your age, your skills. Are they still what they were on those good years? Are they eroding? Are there little variances or changes you can make? So basically, it's a conversation. Hitting is an ongoing conversation. But there comes a point in time where the talking has to stop, the doing has to happen, and then you got to look and honestly self-evaluate. Has improvement happened? So I do believe you can get him to change. In 2010, Josh Hamilton changed his batting stance in the middle of not in the middle of the season, 2 months into the season, and went on to win an MVP. He had a high leg kick. I was there, happened to be the hitting coach. We fought about this for 2.5 months. And finally, he got to the point where he said he had enough. What do you think? I said the same thing. Get wide, no stride, and hit from there. And the rest is history. Josh did all the work in the box. But he did something not even he thought he could do. And he looked at me and goes, you think somebody can change their stance in the middle of the year? I looked him right in the eye. I go, guys, I said, Josh, I really don't know. But if anybody can, you can. And I believe in you. Sometimes those 3 words, I believe in you, are an igniter for anybody in any walk of life.
Clint, I want to go back to the point you made a few minutes ago about it. I remember talking to Fred Lynn on a few years ago, and a point he brought up was playing under Sparky Anderson and a manager where they treated it as a business, but it was also not a job. They wanted it to make it more of a passion because in the long run, if you can keep it passionate, you keep the passion, you'll keep the performance up. And it's something I always remember. It sounds like that's kind of what you were getting at earlier.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I've had conversations with people in the front office that will come down and mention, well, this is a business. And I say, you know what? It may be on the 3rd floor, the 4th floor. Please, down here, refrain from talking about it that way. It's a game. Yeah. It's sport. It's men with heartbeats. They're not pieces. They're players. So I would appreciate it if we could at least connect on those points here. When we remove the heart from things, there's a lot of good things that have happened because of analytics, and there are a lot of things that analytics, I think, are confusing people on. When you remove the heart from anything, it becomes very sterile. And the one area in the game that I've really struggled with, and I still do at times, is we try and leverage everything. I hosted a big fundraising event for our daughter, Maddie, who has Prader-Willi syndrome. She was born with a birth defect. One of our speakers was Steve Blass. Now, an interesting fun fact about Steve Blass is that he threw 2 complete games in the 1971 World Series, 1 Game 7. Something you will never, ever, ever, never, ever, never see again. I mean, we've come up with the opener because we don't think we've got 4 enough starters, but then we'll complain about starters not getting, and where bullpens are being overused. The starting pitching part of it, still for me, you need 4, you need 5. You want them to give you innings so you can use your bullpen when you want to, not when you have to. We've become so bullpen reliant. I get it. Different looks for different hitters. But I think the teams you're seeing have the most success at the end of the season are the teams that are putting together kind of a hybrid model. They use human analytics. They use our research and data analytics. And their starting pitching has a lot to do with the success they're having. They also have offenses that can score multiple ways, and they're all not just big swing, high risk, high reward. There's something to be said still about playing the game of baseball. And if you want to talk about winning a game of baseball, you score more runs than the other team. You get on base more. How do you get on base more? You put the ball in play more. So that's my minute soapbox speech for today. But when you're passionate about it, all those things stay in play. Lou, I could not agree with you more. passion is the engine that drives teams, players, managers to be the best version of themselves always.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's about, again, same thing as you go back to your book and we go to the personal life, job too. Lou had a hard time this past year with his job. He didn't have the passion anymore because of the leadership. I pretty much always had passion until the last few years. I just got tired of working with kids and supervising staff and that kind of stuff. But I still had the passion, and I still do with what I continue to do as a volunteer with the American Camp Association. I become a mentor for younger camp directors, and I've reviewed grants because I love that. Summer camp for me was my go-to. So I'm baseball passion. I can be cranky. I can be a cranky old man, but I'm passionate, man. I love the damn game so much. I want my teams to win. But Clint, you know what else I love these days? And Lou, I love watching the new players come up. The McGonagall, the Griffins, all the rookies, Andrew Painter and Justin Crawford for the Phillies. All of these young kids, Skeens a couple of years ago when he came on the scene. It's so fun now for me to watch these young kids come up and play really well.
Well, I agree with you. There's an infusion of young talent like we haven't seen in a long time. And it's a lot of credit to a lot of different places. Obviously, these kids have been developed someplace. They come from families. And I think it's a testament to most of them have some old school baseball hardware in them. I got to watch McGonagall play as an amateur. I got to watch Griffin play as an amateur. I appreciate, their passion, their energy. And I think anytime more people, you guys have just said it, more people leave their job because of the people they're working for than the job that's in and of itself. And you know what an infusion of energy it is when you're on a team and you get a young player to come up like a Griffin or a McGonagall. In 2007, we were led in many ways by Troy Tulowitzki, who was a rookie out of Long Beach State, only played a short period of time in our minor league program.
Mm-hmm.
He came up and brought an edge to the game that we really didn't have. For the guys that had a little edge, they grew a bigger edge. For guys that had no edge, they created an edge. But he brought his edge every day. The same thing in Pittsburgh with A.J. Burnett and Russell Martin. Right. They brought an edge to the game, passionate about the game. It becomes contagious. It wears on other people. And it's a fun thing to watch happen. It's a one thing to watch that cohesion come together because of the passion, because of the communication they have internally. And then they actually just become a ball team, and they all have a tremendous sense of joy when somebody else has success.
That's awesome. Yeah, it does. I always wondered that, with a bunch of, what is that? Does it really happen? And what you're telling me, like the Crawfords and the guys you just mentioned, that it really does make a difference. It's interesting how that does happen at that level, which is really cool to hear. It really does make a difference. So that's awesome. One more thing before I let you go. State of baseball right now. The rules changes. The one dumb one is the extra inning rule. So I love you laughing. Second base, little league stuff. I don't mind the pitch clock anymore. I mean, I was like, why are we doing this? The bigger base, not that big a deal. So I'm okay with everything except that damn extra inning rule because they don't use it in the playoffs. What are we doing? My suggestion, which I've heard a lot, go 11, go to the 11th inning, regular baseball. And the statistics say most games, majority of the games end by the 11th inning. And then in the 12th, maybe put a runner on. Any other thoughts on the rules that have made impact in the game these days?
Yeah, I've worked my way through all the rules with the exception of the ghost runner. I still have no time for it. Burn it. Done with it. Can't stand it for the same reasons. We play a game 9 innings, and now we flip the script. It's almost like we're in the HOB lane to get home. Okay, we played 9. Now let's get in a hurry. Somebody's got to win so we can go.
Right.
For many years, there was something going on that not a lot of people complained about, but I did as a manager because our team wasn't as good as most of the others. In September, you could add up to 15 players on your club.
Yeah.
So you'd play one brand of baseball for 5 months, then you'd play another brand for the month of September. And the good teams always had a lot more good players to start with. Then they'd add 15 more good players. So you could have a guy pinch hit for the guy that was in the game, pinch run for the pinch hitter. Then somebody could go play defense for the guy that just pinch ran. It got to be comical. I thought it took away from the game, but the good teams exploited it. They brought up a lot of players. They had more moves. The ghost runner, I don't get. It's another way we've given into the fact that we're having trouble developing good hitters. The same reason the shifts evolved, because guys couldn't hit the ball the other way. They don't hit the ball hard where it's pitched. So it's been lack of execution and lack of meeting the demands of the game, which have been the impetus for many of these new rules.
Thank you.
Double bases or bigger base, I'm okay. It's added offense, more steals. However, then we put the minimum throw over. That's happened to help more steals, more offense. I love the pitch clock.
Yeah.
Now, if you'll go back and do some research, you look at the 1980s, from 80 to 90, what the average game time was. And then you look what the average game time length of game are now. They've changed dramatically because the games were quick in the 80s.
Yeah.
We had long hair, we wore tight uniforms, but we played quick. We didn't mess around. Over time, and whether it's anxiety, whether it's money, whether it's the complication of him trying to figure out people afraid to make a mistake, leveraging his situations, batters take more time in the box. Pitchers make more times to pitch. So all in favor of the pitch clock. It's push the pace of play forward. It keeps your infielders ready. It keeps pitchers basically on point, and it keeps batters engaged in the box. So from that standpoint, I'm good on all of them. I got no time for the other one, the ghost runner. But the game of baseball, you look at the World Series last year, you look at the wild card, the way that's worked out, you look at the attendance models. Mm-hmm. I mean, Philly was one of the favorite places to come play. It's going to be packed. You all are going to be loud. There's going to be a lot of obnoxiousness. There's going to be a lot of home team love. And there's a lot of home team booing when the home team does play. Very, very passionate. Right, Mitch?
Yes.
Those
Absolutely.
environments are still so captivating to go play, whether it's Boston, whether it's Philly, Chicago, LA. And there's more than that out there now. A lot more teams have developed with the new stadiums and the better play of a lot of organizations have improved. Pittsburgh is a lovely place, a beautiful ballpark.
Yeah.
And from 13 to 15, it was one of the hardest places for visitors to play because it was an unfriendly environment. We had a really good team. The Pirates may be trending in that direction again this year. How good is baseball when some of those teams that haven't been good are good again? How
Absolutely.
good is baseball when the Cubs are good?
Baltimore.
Enjoy the game. I love the game. I'm going to go watch a AAA game for the next few nights here and watch some more young players. And hopefully they can find their way to the big leagues, and I can maybe provide some experience, strength, and hope for them along the way. I've had a blast being on with you today, guys. Thank you.
Clint, listen, really, I thank you. I was persistent because I needed to get you on, and I'm so thankful that we finally did that.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Lou. But I have one other thing to add. The book. Are you done? Is your 30-minute timer on?
No, we're good.
Oh, keep going.
But the book, you can still pick the book up on Amazon.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I want to share that's free. I put out a daily email, and all you got to do is put in your browser clinthurdle.com. The emails are free. There's one of encouragement, and there's a devotional in there 6 days a week. But at clinthurdle.com, there's something free in there for somebody if they're in a hard place or a stuck place. And I do respond to anybody that reaches back after they become a subscriber. Again, it's free, clinthurdle.com.
I am a subscriber and read them every day. Saturdays with Shenbaum and everything.
Boom!
Yeah.
Thank you, Mitch.
I'm there. And thank you so much. You're terrific. Continued success with your scouting and what you're doing. And we have passion. I just want to put this out there. I could sit in a ballpark for 18 innings.
Yeah.
I don't care.
One last thing, Captain Lou. I love the Red Wing helmet. I love the Lion helmet. I love Chelios the back. Lifetime Lion fan.
There we go.
Born in Michigan, Big Rapids. Have been a Detroit sports fan, all four sports my entire life. Al Kaline, my favorite player.
I wore number 6 in Little League back then, Clint. And, wow, yeah, that's amazing. That's great.
I'm Detroit all over, underneath this coverage.
That a boy. That's great to hear.
All right, guys, I got to run.
All right,
Clint. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a great conversation there, Mitch.
How fun was that, huh?
Oh, my goodness, he's just the stories and the experiences, and it's great to talk to a guy. You learn not just the X's and O's. You learn the reasons why he wants a player to be good or wants to be good. Not just trying to chase a fastball. I really like that.
Yeah, I mean the book again. I haven't unfortunately gotten it yet, but there are excerpts that he's put out there, and it was really as he was starting to put these excerpts on Twitter or wherever on social media, I just kept nodding my head because he understands the development, the human nature. He understands it wholeheartedly. And every time I read one of these, I would just shake my head. Yeah, that's how I think. I mean, specifically with summer camp, okay, you have to develop. The one thing I really got good at was developing relationships. Number one, with my staff, and making them feel important, because that was interesting. That was fun for them, and I always reinforced that I wanted them to lead something, a big event, so that they could get the feel for what that's like with the support of everybody else, including myself. It's on you. You make the decisions. Got any questions, come back to me. But I'm giving you the opportunity because I trust you to do this the right way.
And you hit the nail on the head with the word trust, and he brought that up. And it's one of the reasons that, you said it about me not liking my job the last year with management. Over the last 2 general managers we had, the one I'll never forget, I was sitting in his office and he said, anybody can come into my office. I've got an open door policy. I said, nobody trusts you. I said, you might be a nice guy. You might be easy to talk to, but you're a quote unquote general manager. A general manager, you should know, has to earn the trust of his employees. And he just kind of looked at me all dumbfounded. And that, to me, I walked out of his office that day, Mitch, and I was flabbergasted. That to me is basic 101. And when I hear Clint say what his approach to his hitters, as finding what their likes, what their dislikes, getting that trust, it's a thing that is lacking right now, not only in sports but in everyday life.
Yes.
And
it's getting to
so good when he said that. I really, really like that.
It's getting to know your players, your staff. It's because once you do, then they, just like he said, you're no longer, here comes Clint, here comes the batting coach. What did I do wrong? What am I doing? No, here's my, not necessarily friend,
right?
But here comes my guy coming to talk to me.
Yes.
And I would ask my staff about their family and what are you doing this weekend and how are you doing, and find out what they're, like he said, what are your interests, so that I could say to them, hey, did you watch this TV show, or what are you doing? Are you go? They appreciate the fact that you're interested in them. Right. And that's the key about working with people.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great.
Now, if I was working with the Phillies, I'd be happy last night. But the previous week, holy crap, what the hell are you doing? Now then, of course, I look at, again, someone has to bring me down off the rafters.
Right.
And I got to look at, and I did this the other day, look at the standings. And if you look at the standings of Major League Baseball, there's a lot of equitable teams.
Yeah.
American League East.
The American League as a whole. What is the best?
Well, yeah, exactly. The best records 10-7, Minnesota and Cleveland.
Yeah.
And then you get 9-7s, and then 8-7s, and 8-9s, and you got a couple of 6 and 10 and 11. That's the American League. National League, take away the Dodgers. It's the same thing. 10 and 7, 9 and 8, 8 and 8, 7 and 9, 7 and 9. Pittsburgh 10 and 6, 9 7, 8 7, 8 8, 7 9. Dodgers obviously 12 and 4, 10 6, 9 8, 6 10, 6 10. So and I guess it's been this way every year. It's harder. It's harder for the hitters at the beginning of the year than it is the pitchers. Yeah. Harder to hit. Got to get in that rhythm.
Yeah, I mean, I look at I don't know if you've looked at the stats. That's one of the things that that I've been doing on my little morning extravaganzas that I started back up. Is I look at the stats, the hitting stats, and last week it was the Mariners coming off a ALCS appearance. Now it's the White Sox. How can a team bat under the Mendoza line? It's one of those things that flummox me as well. How can a professional baseball team hit 193? You and I could do that.
It's early.
I know it's early, but
that's what
God
drives me, Lou.
I know.
Looking at so it was interesting looking at the Phillies averages and then looking at other teams, their big hitters. It's consistent all the way across the league. There aren't many guys hitting above 300 right now.
No.
So again, I hate to say that it's early, but the reality is it's not just the Phillies. It's not just the Tigers. It's pretty much every team in the league.
Yeah,
is not there yet. It is April, 17 games in, whatever, and you have 150 games left to go, 148, whatever it is. So it's an interesting, and maybe it's because we're getting older and we have more time in our hands to look at this stuff. No,
I mean, Mitch, you and I have talked about this, and we'll continue to talk about this till we have one marble rolling around in our head. It's back, it's just times are different. Back in the 70s, again, you strike out 150 to 200 times, you're in the minors.
Yeah.
It's all analytics is taken over. They don't care how you get to 300 or to 260. It's 260. I mean, and I just
here's a comment that bothered me on the Philly show. Okay, I watch this show every day or whenever they post a podcast. Again, longtime writer Todd Zalecki, Jim Salisbury, longtime writer from Philadelphia for the Phillies, and Ruben Amaro Jr., former GM. Right. Question came in the other day on the podcast. Why are these guys hitting and making contact? And why are they trying to hit home runs? 2 of the 3, Salisbury and Amaro, do it like this. It's all about the money. You hit homers, you get paid. I was like, what?
Yeah.
But then you tell us on the same podcast that they've got to make better contact.
Right.
They got to get on base to move the runners, and they're not doing that. So what is it, fellas? Come on. Let's be honest. It's not about hitting home runs. That's where they want to get paid. It's about winning. Yeah. Stop telling me it's about hitting home runs. Hitting coaches need to make sure that they're on. Again, Harper, he's cut down his rate as of the first 2 weeks, right? Chase rate. Bryson Stott was hitting 400 in spring training. You know what? It was spring training because he can't hit the broadside of a barn right now. I mean, and now he swinged. I watched his swing yesterday. So much better. And like Clint said, and I wanted to get more out of him about hitting 90, 95 and with the sliders and forkballs and sweepers coming in at below that, are these guess hitters? Can they see the spin?
Yeah.
Can they see the spin on the ball? I mean, obviously that there are some guess hitters and there are some who just, are able to catch the spin and watch it, I think. And they're trained, their eyes are trained for that. But it just boggles the mind sometimes when these guys come up here and they say one thing and then they say the other thing out of the side of their mouth. But why are they trying to hit home runs? Well, they get paid. Well, but they need to make contact. Make up your freaking minds.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, Harper last night, too, had really good swings. You can see the difference with Bryce Harper, if you have a chance to ever watch him.
Mm-hmm.
Hit the ball, swing when his feet are moving after the swing. Totally off balance. But when he's balanced and he takes a nicer, easy swing, and this is what Jim Salisbury said, listen, the guy's strong. He doesn't have to swing hard. Just meet the ball. We were always taught in Little League, meet the ball. It'll go. The speed on the pitch is going to where your power is going to come from.
And that's funny you bring that up about his feet. That was one of the things when I was a kid. I got away with it in Little League, but when I got to right before American Legion ball, one of my coaches said I was tiptoeing in the batter's box, but I could get away with it because I could hit. That was different. But boy, because it was a nervous thing.
Yeah.
He said, if you don't stop, you're not going to be able to hit because this is a different animal once you start. Boy, was he right. And it took some discipline to do that. And I also think back to what Clint said about how now there's like a 25 mile per hour difference in the velocity of some of these pitches. And, it never used to be like that. Yeah, you had Nolan Ryan throwing, 100 miles an hour, but correct me if I'm wrong. Back when we were growing up, you didn't have the major leaguers throwing 6 different pitches. I mean, you had to hit the curveball, obviously, and the slider and a knuckler, and occasionally a knuckler, but not very many people threw that, right?
Yeah, it was 1 for a fastball, 2 for a curveball, and 3 for a changeup. That was it, right?
Right.
Speaking of feet, Scotty Scheffler and his movable feet on the tee is just amazing to watch for me. It's crazy.
Wow.
Boy, what a Masters, huh?
Yeah, it was good. It's funny is I go back and forth on it, with Rory McIlroy. I at times I don't mind him. At times I think he's arrogant. I've never been one of those that have been anti-live.
Mm-hmm.
I think I always go back to if someone were to offer 90% of this country a chance to make $100 million over 3 years, generational wealth, would you not take it? But at the end of the day, he's one hell of a golfer, and it came down to me as a putting contest, and he was able to make the putts on the back 9, and the guy's on top of the world right now. And
I've never been a hater of Rory. I've always liked him. I don't like Liv. I was glad that hardly any of them made the cut. To me, they sacrificed their game. In essence, it was on them. They totally sacrificed their game for the money.
Yeah.
If I had to make the choice, I don't know. I probably would have taken the money, and then do what Brooks Koepka is doing and wanting to get back in. We sacrificed. But the games have gone to crap.
And I give Rory credit because he did stick. He could have got $1 billion, and him and Tiger both. And I get it. There's a part of me that I don't know. I appreciate his game.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's a money player now. He's gotten that monkey off his back of winning the Masters.
Yeah.
I appreciate his game. And at first I was upset about, I kind of thought he was taking a dig at the PGA Tour for, not playing those 3 weeks and practicing for 3 weeks. But you know what? I've seen other golfers comment on that.
Yeah.
They all say they all can do it. If they got an invitation to play in the Masters, they can forego those 3 tour stops and play it. They don't have to. And I think that's the misconception of the media. And I was at first, I didn't like him for it. So I don't know. I'm a media guy in the long run. And I think sometimes Rory McIlroy is a front runner. When he plays bad, he won't talk to anybody. He's there for the glory, but when the going gets tough, sometimes I think he takes a powder. And I don't know. That's one thing I just don't like about professional athletes
I think their egos, Lou, at their age right now is they're really up there. Did you happen to see the interview with Freddie Couples after his Friday round, and how humble he was, and what the reporter said was, what would you have done back in the day if you had shot this? Would I have been able to talk to you? He goes, no. He goes, I would have said, guys, leave me alone, go
Yeah.
away. I'm not talking to anybody. He's 66 years old now. He did what he could. He says, I tried my best. It's one of those things, and it just happened.
And again, I agree with you. And then I go back to going back and forth about Rory and athletes like that. We all want them to talk, and sometimes they tell us stuff we don't want to hear, and they come across as arrogant. We can't have it both ways either, right?
Exactly.
So, I mean, I go back and forth on him. I don't hate him. I was rooting for Justin Rose because
so were we. We were too. Yes.
And he's a very good ambassador to the game. He's been so close. He's but golf needs that though. They need a guy like Rory who may piss people off a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think golf is suffering from that, and some of it has to do with some of the personalities going to live.
Right. But I also think that you have a Scotty Scheffler who almost did the impossible, right?
Yeah,
he
right.
almost did it.
Yeah.
You can never count him out because his previous few weeks weren't that good. He was just trying to, I guess, hone his game, and then he just picks it up at the Masters, and he's going to pick it up at the PGA.
They just had a child 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't tell me that wasn't weighing on him.
Exactly.
So, but
cool stuff. That's how we love sports, right? There's so many personalities, so many different things to watch and read about and listen to. And in the long run, it's just our own opinions that we have that we can put on social media or talk on podcasts and talk to guests like Clint.
Yeah.
So it was it's fun. It's just fun to talk sports.
It is, and it's a passion. And when it doesn't become a passion, and then that's when you got to think about it. It's like anything in life,
Yes.
It's when you're not happy about it, you got to take a step back. And
yep.
It's speaking of passion, the NFL draft is coming up next week.
Yeah.
And Mitch, we're gonna do a special show on the YouTube channel, and you're gonna be a part of it. Just talking about our teams, your team, obviously the Eagles, and I've got someone already. We did an interview last night with a guy that very passionate about the Broncos, and I'm going to get a few more. So,
cool.
It's a 12-month-a-year business now, just like baseball.
Absolutely is. It really is. And then we've got, unfortunately, your Red Wings didn't make it. My Rangers last in their division. That's tough. But you know what? People are going to go crazy. I'm a Ranger fan, but lived in Philly for 26 years. Watched the Flyers. Never really disliked them. Never really rooted for them.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot stand the Penguins. Cannot stand those dirty ass players. Can't stand Crosby, baby Crosby. I'm rooting heavily for the Flyers in this playoff.
Yeah, I will root for them against Pittsburgh. I'm not. I'm not a Penguins fan at all. And it's funny is a little backstory on that. I had Megan Dubas on my ACHA podcast. She's a coach for Sioux College, and we were talking, and I always ask coaches when I have them on for the first time, who did you root for growing up? She says, well, I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. She said, right now I'm a Penguins fan. And I said, why is that? She said, well, my brother is the GM of the Penguins. And I'm like, because she grew up a Red Wings fan.
Really?
They're from Sault Ste. Marie, Canada. Yeah. And it's funny who you meet and what their allegiance is. That's just like with Clint. Who'd have knew he was born in Big Rapids? That's like an hour and a half from where I live. Small town, home of Ferris State.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
Well, that's cool. That's a good reason to root for the Penguins.
Absolutely.
That's really funny.
Well, Mitch, this has been a great show. I guess we can wrap it up. And we'll be back next Wednesday on the 23rd for another show. And we'll talk some baseball and whatever else, eh? Yeah,
always baseball for sure.
All
maybe we'll get, like I said, that special show for the NFL draft. And then, we got, I don't have any skin in the game for basketball at all.
Yeah.
Playoffs. But hockey, I'm going to be rooting for the Flyers and They were 17-7-1 in their last 25.
Yeah, that's amazing. They had
Crazy.
a good time. Then Detroit was just the exact opposite. And
Yeah.
It's amazing. You know, I said this yesterday. I'm kind of at a loss because Detroit's got the talent. You know, all this talk about firing Steve Yzerman as a GM, I think, is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the talent there, and I think they've got a good coach in Todd McClellan. To me, it's on the players to step up, and they played soft, and I don't know if they're out of shape.
Right.
It's just Saturday's game where they got eliminated against the Devils, one of the worst in the league, was a microcosm of their season. They start out hot, they get a lull, then they tease you in the third period, then they run out of gas. And that's the way it happened with the March collapse. So I don't know. But the NBA, I've got our Pistons, 6-22. And real quick on that, 30 seconds on that, Mitch, is they are the top seed in the East, and they've got the fourth best odds to make it to the finals. Nobody's giving them any love.
Good for them. That's what they want.
That's the way we like it. So I don't know who they're playing yet. They play the play-in winner. And unless you got Prime Video, you're not going to be able to watch those games. But that's another argument for another day. All right. Well, Mitch, let's give a big thank you again to Clint Hurdle for taking time out of his busy schedule to join us. He's scouting down in Albuquerque at the AAA facility, watching games there. What a joy to have him on. And we want to thank everybody else for taking time out to be with us here, however you watched us around the world on the Extravaganza. All right, Mitch, enjoy the rest of your week. For my team partner, Mitch Bernstein, yours truly, Captain Lou, saying keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. So long, everybody.
Keep your eye on the ball.